coding. I thought it wasn't for me. I had no hard skills and I was an English teacher for kids. And for a moment there, I thought this would be what I would do for the rest of my life. Fast forward 8 years, I'm a dad and a husband, and I'm grateful for the life that coding has given me. So is programming for you? This is a question you really have to ask yourself, because before you start investing your time and money into this career, as much as you get back, you'll have to give a lot too. So my name is Phil. I became a senior developer after the age of 30. If this video becomes of use to you, please share and comment below what is the reason you started programming, and really be honest about it, and let's get a discussion going. So I've told this story many times. I woke up, I was playing Madden, I was a little hungover from the night before, and I remember because I went to this meetup, and it was at a coding bootcamp, and I picked up a brochure, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw that brochure when I was thinking like, what am I gonna do with my life, you know? Because I was like teaching English. I didn't want that to be like my end goal, you know? And I picked up that brochure, found the phone number, gave him a call, went right ahead. And, you know, in my head, I was thinking, you know, I have to make a career change. I have to gain some hard skills. And that's like what I really wanted, because, you know, if I learn this, I can kind of like take it with me for the rest of my life, and you could drop me off at anywhere. Like, I don't know, at that time I was thinking like being like remote developer in Chiang Mai, and like, you know, wanting to be a digital nomad and all that kind of stuff, and dreaming of that kind of stuff. And I remember I had some friends that were programmers as well at that time, and I really looked up to them because I was like, oh, you can take on jobs and all this kind of stuff. So I remember trying to learn on my own, but then, you know, like maybe motivation kind of gets like lost, and then, you know, I kind of needed that thing where, I don't know, like when I pay money for like course or like a video on Udemy or a video or like school, it kind of gives you motivation to keep going, because it's like, I don't want to waste my money. I'm gonna, rather than like free material or something. And I don't know what that is. I think it's something in like my head. Like definitely I was that guy that wasn't like super smart or anything. I just wanted to change my life. You know, I wanted to learn how to program. And maybe when I was first starting, I wanted to like, you know, it gets in Hollywood, it's like showcase like this like smart guy or like quirky guy. And maybe that's like the image that I wanted, that like knew like weird facts and like could talk people's ears off about stuff. Anyways, like I felt like I had that in my like personality, but as a programmer, I kind of wanted to add that programming skill into my repository or into my tool belt. From there, it was really hard for me, because at first it just wasn't getting into my head at all. And, you know, like I thought programming would be a cool career path for me, because, you know, like after like high school, like when I was younger, like the first thing I do is, you know, go onto my computer, you know, with like DSL connection, and hop on AIM. It was like AOL Instant Messenger, open up a browser or something and listen to music on like Windows Media Music Player or something, and watch the graphics and all that kind of stuff. That was like my afternoon, you know, after like homework and all that kind of stuff. I'd like perfectly position like each Instant Messenger box and like try to get like 8 of them onto the screen and like talk to people. And that was fun for me, listening to music and talking to people, watching a movie. And I liked being in front of the computer, so I thought maybe programming would be really cool for me. So I just, you know, I picked up that phone. I said, this is the way I'm gonna go, and I put in the time, and it was very hard. And if it came too easy, I think it wouldn't feel as good as it does now, right? And you know, one other thing is I always like, you know, like little like, I guess, calculations and numbers a little bit. Like I was okay at math, but not that you need math for programming or anything, but I used to play like Magic the Gathering pretty heavily as like a kid. And there's a lot of like keeping track of your life points and mana and all this kind of stuff, and I thought I could translate that kind of skill like in front of the computer. Yeah, I mean, like I'm glad I did Magic the Gathering, because it helped me like think in a way of like stacks and all that kind of stuff, and programming was really fun for me. It made me feel like I could replace that, like maybe Magic the Gathering, even though I wasn't playing at the time, or like replace gaming or something with the soft like coding. And that's what I did. You know, after you reach a level, you have to find like a new mountain or like a new challenge, and with programming it's a little bit endless, so you like never get really bored and never satisfied. And I think that's like the joy of it, right? So yeah, is that okay? After I was learning and I paid all that money for the boot camp, after the boot camp I was a little bit lost. And like I know there's like some people, I hear like stories like people just end up like going back to their old like jobs or something after the boot camp if they cannot find like a job or something. But luckily for me, it was like the height of the programming jobs. It was like 2017, and I was able to get a job pretty quickly, but I still didn't know like much, right? Like I barely knew how to make a pull request. I barely knew how to like upload my code. I barely knew how to deploy and just like all this kind of stuff. But I remember like right after boot camp, my programmer friend was like, here's like a cool like site to buy domains, which was like namecheap.com, and here's like a place you can get like cheap server. So I remember, I think that was SiteGrounds, and I used those sites, and I was like, okay, here I have enough tools, I can build people websites. that's like how I can make some extra money. Buying those things kind of like gave me like this kind of like dream, right? Like, oh, like I can be an entrepreneur, I can build all these websites. So I went around, I looked, yeah, I got a couple cool websites I made for like pretty reputable places. So not that I'm like super proud of that code or anything, it's just what I was doing at that time. It was really fun, you know, and that kept me going because I was like, okay, I'm paying all these server bills. At this point, I felt like I had no choice but to just keep going. You know, I think I've said it before, but I bet on myself a lot. And if you bet on yourself and you don't quit, that's a pretty good bet to take, you know? So I kept going, and I saw it as just only one option. And I was gonna make at least my money, I was gonna make my money back from what I paid at the boot camp or whatever. I was gonna make, you know, that was like my first goal. And then I was gonna make more money than that. So I recouped, and that's what kept me going, you know, and I just didn't give up. Oh, my previous life before coding, I was, you know, teaching English. I was like drinking a lot. I think I was also boxing, like teaching boxing at a gym, and I was driving around. I was like I have like a hustler mindset a little bit, like from like my English teaching, I'd find one-on-one tutors and I'd do that. And, you know, and I was doing many other jobs that I could find. It was very tiring, and I just couldn't see myself. I mean, the one-on-one tutoring, it was fine, like the English teaching and stuff, but I couldn't do it forever. It's not even like I was like a super great English speaker anyways. Like that's what I was doing. I was always hustling like my whole life anyways. Like even before that, I was hustling in Oakland or like the Bay Area. And I always try to find ways to make money, and programming was no different. I was always doing side jobs. I was always, you know, had a job. I was making money, and it's a nonstop process. So, you know, I put it in my head, like I have one choice, I have one option. Like I won't do anything until I succeed. But definitely while you're climbing, right, or whatever, like climbing a mountain or climbing whatever, those thoughts creep up in your mind, like, oh, like I want to quit, or this is too hard, or is this even worth it? Is it a safe path to go? There's a lot more other talented people than me. Like, where am I gonna fit in? Am I gonna find a job? Even like with me, like I grew up in America, so I had like a language barrier with like companies sometimes, right? So coding was a great way for me to kind of realize like, yeah, like even if you have language barriers, like code it's written the same, right? And I think those times when, you know, I felt a little bit of like this quitting feeling, or like this, like I don't want to do it kind of feeling, like I shook my head a little bit and I just said, get those thoughts out, you know, let's study something new. There's probably a deeper reason, like the reason why I want to quit is because maybe I'm comparing myself to people with much more experience, and maybe I'm not understanding something and it's too hard, so I quit. Like I don't know, like I think there's a quote from Muhammad Ali, right? Or something. I think Muhammad Ali, it's like train hard today, or in like you can quit now, or you can live the rest of your life as a champion or something. So I always kind of had that mentality, you know, like even if it's hard, you know, just get through it. It's only gonna be hard for that moment, but then once you get through, you're gonna feel much better. And definitely like when something was hard, and for me to figure that out, it wasn't like, it's because I was kind of going at it like one way, but then I'd go back to the drawing board, or I'd go to Google, get up forums or Stack Overflow, or ask my friends, and I'd find another way to kind of get into it and tackle the problem. And it made it easier, and that boosted my confidence to kind of keep going. And sure, like there's other factors, like not being able to make enough money in the beginning, because obviously like I was always hustling, right? I was like trying to make, you know, money as much as possible, but it was kind of hard. Like I was taking a pay cut at the time from teaching English at an academy, doing all those tutors, and then I was going into programming, and that was a big switch in my life, right? Because I'm going into like as a junior, and I don't know much at that time. You know, I persevered and I kept going, and I saw what my other friends were making, and I saw, you know, I could do it. I could have a good life. Just never compare, because, you know, that's gonna fall into a trap, like no matter what. And like I just snap yourself out of like that mindset and just do it for yourself. Because what really got me, like, you know, coding is kind of like, or like any kind of skill, is if you do it for yourself, you kind of level up much faster. Because I did see myself like maybe, like in the beginning, I was saying like maybe I wanted to be looked at a certain way when I'm like a coder or whatever, and, you know, be that smart, intelligent person that's like quirky or whatever. But it's kind of like that's for the outside factors of how I wanted people to view me. In the end, that's all bullshit, to be honest. Like I don't really care. Like you kind of have to like really not care about what other people think, and just do it for yourself to kind of level up yourself, to be honest. Like I used to play guitar like when I was young, and obviously like, you know, in high school or like middle school, where you pick up the guitar, you want to get the girls and all this kind of stuff, and you're doing it for other people, right? So maybe to people that don't know guitar or something, you learn how to play like Wonderwall or whatever, or Slide, and people are like, oh, this guy's good or whatever. But you go to other guitar players, and it's like oh, that's all you can do, or it's not like that, but it's kind of like, you know, there's so much more to do, right? And that goes with programming, right? Like, yeah, like I can code up a storm in front of people that don't know how to code, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? But then if you actually go up to other programmers and understand what you're doing, it's like you want to gain their respect too. It's not like, and then it's like, okay, if I want to gain their respect, and honestly, respect giving and stuff like that, like it's good, but I mean, that shouldn't really be a driving factor for you. It should be more like, oh, that guy can do that. Oh, that's cool. I'll learn too. And honestly, like in programming and everything, like it's not like people are there to like, and then maybe like another point is like people are never there to like shit on you or anything like that. Like no one's there to say, hey, I'm this programming god or something, right? Like nobody, and people like that, like them anyways, right? Anyways, but like it's honestly, it's a team sport, or like it's a place where you're trying to raise each other up anyways. And if I need help on something, I can reach out, and you know, maybe that person doesn't know now, but maybe that person will like be better than me, and like I don't know, whatever it is, right? Like and I can reach out and ask him to help me or her later on. And that's I think that's a huge factor of what, you know, coding kind of is. Like you take, like GitHub is like a great place where people want to showcase what they made, and you know, you can like get inspiration and references to kind of like put into your code, and you know, you can say thank you, or you know, you can always give credit to those people, but you know, it's always, you know, something you have to do for yourself to level up in anything. So is coding really for you? You have to ask yourself those questions. You really have to have a solid reason for why you want to keep coding, to kind of get better at it and stay on your path. So coding saves lives.